Now back to Ottawa Today with Mark Sutcliffe on 1310 News and simulcast on Rogers TV.
So as I just announced on 1310 News and Rogers TV, Ottawa Today will be shrinking a little bit in size in the new year, going from 4 hours to 1 hour per day. I made that decision and worked it out with Rogers a few months ago, and as luck would have it, as the radio station was trying to figure out, okay, what are we going to do with the other 3 hours? I'm really, really happy to say a terrific, fantastic broadcaster became available and will now be joining the 1310 News team early in the new year. My longtime friend and colleague, Rob Snow. Rob, welcome.
Good morning, Mark.
Great to see you.
So great to see you.
Yeah. Welcome aboard. So starting in the new year, you will be on the air from 9 a.m. to noon every day, and then Ottawa Today will be on from noon to 1.
Yeah. Can't wait. Can't wait to get going.
It is great to be working with you again.
Everything is kind of coming full circle, Mark. A lot of the listeners may not know this. I've known Mark now for more than 2 decades, and Mark helped me get my foot in that door of radio broadcasting, and I really never looked back.
We should tell that story because we share this in common. Both of us worked very early in our careers on 106.1 Shea.
That's right.
Yeah. So you did some work there. And then in, I'm going to say, the mid to late 90s, I was the publisher of the Ottawa Business Journal.
That's right, yeah.
And we...
Around 98. Around 98, yeah.
We entered into a partnership with a local radio station to create a daily business show.
That's right.
A radio show. And we were looking around for somebody to host this show. Somebody who could work in our newsroom at the Ottawa Business Journal, but also produce radio content.
That's right.
And we hired you to do that job.
Yeah.
And
I would go to work in the morning, and I would work for Mark with a great little news team at the Ottawa Business Journal. And you think about the late 90s and how
what was going on then, right? It was Nortel and JDS and all these, technology companies.
Then zip over to the radio station and put everything that we had worked on in the morning into this radio show. And of course, from there, we became longtime colleagues on the air. And
because for a long time, I had the show in the afternoon.
That's right.
And you were basically a co-host on that show. With our longtime friend Jen Traplin.
That's right.
And we did that for a while, and then you took over for me when I left, and then Lowell Green left, and you moved to another time slot, and
our paths keep crossing, Mark, and it's just tremendous. Now you say that this show is getting a little lighter. I would say that. Looking at you and looking at me, I would say your show's gained about 80 pounds, as a matter of fact. But it's worked out perfect.
The timing could not have been better, and I didn't plan it this way. But it's funny because there was all this back and forth over. You know how these things go. You make a decision, but then you got to figure out exactly what it means and how things are going to roll out. When are we going to wrap things up? When are we going to make the announcement? And then, as I said, I thought maybe, with media budgets being tight and I didn't want to presume anything about the programming schedule. I thought if I said I don't want to do a 4-hour show anymore, they might say, okay, well, thanks very much. We'll find someone else who does. But they said, hey, do you want to do a 1-hour show? So I said, sure, great. And before we got to the point of saying, okay, what are we going to do with the other 3 hours? You suddenly became available, and I remember thinking, my God, this is perfect.
Yeah.
And some people reached out, and the pieces were put together, and here you are.
The broadcasting industry in Ottawa is it's exciting and it's dynamic, but it's still a pretty close community, and people have worked together, and there's a lot of cross-pollination that has happened, and people have gone to school together, and relationships are formed that way. And I'm just really looking forward to it. I know you're looking forward to moving on with so many of the exciting adventures and ventures that you're involved in, Mark, and dedicating some more resources. And a 4-hour radio show is a big commitment.
Yeah.
It's not just the product that you have to put on the radio every day, but it's all the preparation and thought and writing and scheduling that has to be put into that.
Yeah, you're always thinking about the next show, right? You finish one show and you start.
Now, what do we do tomorrow?
It's like that old. I don't even know if this is true, but I remember somebody saying one time that, when they finish painting the Golden Gate Bridge, they got to go back to the other end and just start painting it again. And it's kind of like that. You finish one radio show and you feel like, okay, great, we got it done. We filled up the 4 hours, and then we got another show tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
So and
anyway. I love doing that. And the way things are going right now is, as you transition into your 1 hour show between now and the end of the year, I'll be popping in and popping out, reminding people
you're welcome here anytime.
This is where I am now, and welcoming people to tune in. I've been at this a long time, and people, I think, when they hear a Rob Snow radio show, they know what they're going to hear.
Yep. It's
going to be tough. It's going to be fair. It's going to be opinionated. But look, this is the radio industry. It's broadcasting. There's going to be it has to be a little razzle dazzle show business, and it has to be fun and entertaining. And that's what I want to do. And this is a new opportunity. It's a new challenge, but it's the same old Rob Snow. And if you've listened to me over the last 20 years, that's what I want to bring to it. And we're hoping that we'll get going with that probably sometime in the first or second week of January.
Right on. And, I have to say, one of the things that I've always admired about you has been your passion for radio. And I know how seriously you take the craft and the medium. I can remember many conversations we had 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, and how much you have read about the media business and about radio in particular. And I can remember you quoting me different things from stuff you've read about, what it takes to put on a good radio show, how, you should never be boring, right? That, and so I have always admired how much effort you've put into your show and your work, and how much how seriously you take your work. I've always admired that about you, and you have a real passion for radio. And when Lowell Green retired, I was not surprised at all that they made the decision to move you into that time slot. And I thought you were the perfect person for that. And to have you on this radio station instead going forward. And I think is a big home run for 1310 and for our listeners.
Well, I appreciate that, Mark. And I listened to your. It's not a goodbye, but it's kind of a goodbye. It's going from doing 4 hours down to 1 hour, and now you'll be doing a new show from noon to 1. I just want to say, Mark, as someone who has known you for a long time now. Someone who has been a boss, a mentor, and a colleague. What you are getting with Mark Sutcliffe and the legacy of Mark Sutcliffe on this radio station and all your other broadcasting pursuits, Mark, you're just one of Ottawa's great people. Your leadership in the community, both as an entrepreneur and in your community work, in your charity work, and with your volunteerism that I know you're going to dedicate. You're going to have the time now.
A little bit more time,
to dedicate more of your time to that. You really do set just such a tremendous example for the city, Mark. And I think everyone who's listening right now would agree with me in saying you're just the best of Ottawa. And the work you've done here and the work you're going to continue to do, we should be always grateful as a community for your efforts, Mark.
Well, thank you. That means a lot, Rob. But I'm the one who's grateful because, this is my hometown. I know you're a proud Cape Bretoner, of course.
Right.
And we've talked many times about Sydney because I had some connections to Sydney a few years ago, spent a lot of time in Cape Breton. But this is kind of your adopted hometown, and
30 years now, I think that qualifies.
But the ins and outs of this community, you know how special it is. And I've said many times, my parents are not from Ottawa. They're not from Canada. They were immigrants to this country separately. And yet, despite the fact that there was, obviously a big leap for them to make their way in this community. I grew up as an Ottawa person, and I am very much a Canadian, and I'm very lucky to have grown up in this community and to have had the chance to have these kinds of roles, to be a prominent member of the media community, to have the chance to volunteer and give back a little bit. I'm the one who should be grateful, because it's been a great run.
It's been a great run.
Yeah.
And a new run will start soon.
Yes.
Right?
And I got to still keep doing this show for the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Although, I should tell you, I'm taking Monday and Tuesday off. So, I'm just...
Okay, I'm not starting Monday or Tuesday.
No, I'm just using up a couple of vacation days. I think Mark Day is going to fill in for me on Monday and Tuesday. Then I'll be back doing a few more shows, wrapping up on the 20th. We'll have some Christmas. Remember how we used to do Christmas music every year with Robin and Joe?
Yeah.
We're going to do that on December 20th, Friday, December 20th, the Friday before Christmas. You should join us that day for that.
I think I will.
Okay.
All right.
And we'll have lots of fun, and then we'll keep going. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is good stuff. This is good stuff, Rob. I can't tell you how thrilled I am that it's you that's going to be stepping into this opportunity here. It's going to be great.
I am thrilled that it's me too.
Right on. Look forward to it, Rob. Thanks for dropping by.
Thanks, Mark.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And coming up, Sandrap with Sandra Plagakis.
You're listening to Ottawa Today with Mark Sutcliffe on 1310 News and Rogers TV. Mark will be right back.